Kindness is not weakness, it is leadership in its most powerful form. Welcome to the Voice of Impact, where belief meets action. Our podcast amplifies stories, systems, and solutions behind meaningful change. I'm your host, Robert Ndoping. Today's conversation is about something simple yet deeply powerful. It's called kindness, not the passive kind that we casually talk about, but the kind that transforms workplaces, strengthens communities, and brings people together around a purpose and real leadership. Because when kindness becomes intentional, it becomes a force that shapes cultures, leadership, and creates a lasting impact. My guest today is Ron Smith, a nationally recognized inspirational speaker, business leader, community advocate who has spent decades helping people discover their gifts and use them to make a difference. With more than 40 years of real world leadership experience, Ron has built a career inspiring individuals and organizations to collaborate, serve others, and create meaningful community impact. Through his signature message, The Bridge to Kindness, Ron speaks across the country in keynotes, workshops, and corporate training sessions, helping audiences understand how acts of kindness and service can transform not only communities, but also workplace culture. He's also a speaker on corporate social responsibility, demonstrating how organizations that invest in purpose, ethics, and community engagement build stronger cultures and more committed teams. Ron is the author of Kairos Gratitude, a powerful book that shares his personal journey showing how childhood adversity combined with God given gifts and intentional acts of kindness can lead to lasting impact. Throughout his career, Ron has been widely recognized for both his professional achievements and his community leadership. His honors include the 2024 Global Impact Award, Business Person of the Year, multiple Small Business of the Year awards, the induction into the Westville South High School Hall of Fame for his community service. He's also an award-winning speaker, an accomplished audio and video producer, a successful 36-year business owner, and a top sales professional for an incorporated 5,000 company. But perhaps most importantly, Ron believes deeply in the power of kindness, gratitude, and serve to shape lives and communities. Ron, it's our pleasure to welcome you today on the Voice of Impact.
Robert, it's a pleasure to be here and to be with you today, and I'm very excited to be with you today.
So, Ron, we're excited as well. But I know there's a listener that's even more excited to know what's your journey? I mean, what brought you to a place where you're creating all of this impact in businesses, in communities, in workplaces? Somebody wants to know.
Well, it all started in my childhood because I'm an only child. I don't have any siblings. And both of my parents were teachers. And I'm breaking five generations of teachers going back both directions, going into communications and going into radio. I've been very blessed to have been in radio now since the age of 14 for 44 years. And so I have a radio career of being a radio news anchor. But more importantly than that, I was raised with the mantra in our family of others before self. And so the number of times that I would see, as an example, my mother, who taught first grade for 37 years, her mother, my grandmother, taught for 44 years, high school English. But the number of times that I would witness my mother in the afternoon when she would come home from school, before she would start grading her papers, if there was a student in her classroom that needed a new pair of glasses because they couldn't see the chalkboard, and she knew that family's situation and that they couldn't afford to buy the glasses, she would call every optometrist in our city and ask which optometrist was going to be willing to donate the glasses to that family. And she would wait until one of them raises their hand and says, "We'll do it." My father coached basketball, the seventh grade basketball team at the junior high where he taught. And if there was a student that wanted to play basketball, but the family couldn't afford the shoes to wear, he would go to our two local sporting goods stores and say, "I've got a kid that wants to play ball. He can't afford the shoes. Who's going to donate the shoes? I'll wait. You two decide between the two of you who it's going to be." And so that's the environment that I was raised in. And I thought that's something that everybody did. And through my scouting career, I'm an Eagle Scout. It took me 7 years and 50 weeks to do it. I got it 2 weeks before I turned 18, which is the deadline. So I barely made it. But my scouting career reinforced that. And then as I got involved in my community as a business owner, I found that there were ways that I could give back as a business and engage with the local nonprofits in our community. So I engaged by serving on the board of our local food pantry. And I found out that I could actually put into action what I did as a kid. And it was pretty cool to do that. And what we could do is we could help out with food poverty. But a few years back, I had the opportunity to expand that with a nonprofit that said, we can help out with anything, not just food. We can help out with anything. And I joined up with that nonprofit, which the director of, I've known since the age of 12, so we go back a little bit. But together, we've been able to grow that project to be in 68 communities across 4 different states. And we've impacted over 634,000 people just in 9 years. And it's all volunteer by helping people that identify the needs in their community to team up with people who have the ability to meet those needs to then fulfill those needs for the people who need it. And so out of that came the desire to help other nonprofits have the same type of success in their communities as we've been able to have with our nonprofit, and to lift them up to have that success. And that's what the Bridge to Kindness is all about, where it got its start.
Wow. Wow. Um, Ron, with all of this, I want to know, was there a defining moment, an adversity, or something that happened which changed the way you look at purpose in life?
I'd love to share that with you if I may. So, we were supposed to start the nonprofit that helps with anything in the fall of 2017. It started in one community on Martin Luther King Day, January of 2017, and I was able to bring it to the community that I live in October of that year. And we were supposed to start it on November 1st on a Wednesday. But the Wednesday before that, on October 24th, my phone rang at 6:30 in the morning. You see, there was a gentleman by the name of John who got up at 5:30 in the morning that morning to make his breakfast. And as he went to get the toast out of the toaster, he started to smell smoke. And he realized the smoke wasn't coming from the toaster. So he threw on a pair of shoes. He opened up the front door to his apartment. It's a 4-unit apartment building made up of single bedroom apartments. And he looked down the hall and he saw flames. So he started yelling, "Fire, fire, fire." He banged on every door and got everybody out. So at 6:30, the mayor of my city gives me a call because he's part of the nonprofit that I was operating and still operate to this day. And he said, "Now, Ron, if I understand right, this is how you help people, right?" I said, "Yep. You need to get over here because I think these people need your help. I know we're supposed to start next week, but you better get over here." So within an hour, I was on scene by 7:30, and John stepped into the ambulance, which I made my makeshift office. And I said, "John, what's your story?" And he said, "Well, I'm an electrical contractor. And last night, instead of leaving my tools in the truck, I decided to bring them in for the night. And now they're burnt up. They're ash. I don't have any tools to go to work. I'm a contractor. Unless I have tools, I can't work." And it occurred to me, I've seen the owner of our local hardware store at chamber meetings for years. I know Trish. Let me give her a call. So I called Trish and I explained to Trish what I do and John's situation. And Trish simply said this to me, Robert. She said, "Ron, we normally open at 10. Why don't you do a list up of everything that John lost? Get over here at 9:30. I'll replace everything that's on the list. No questions asked." $450 worth of tools like that. And she replaced everything that was there. April stepped into the ambulance and I said, "April, what's your story?" "Well, I'm a nurse and I can't go back to the hospital to work. All of my scrubs, my shoes, they all burn up in the fire." And I said, that's interesting. 2 weeks ago, I went shopping with one of my four daughters who's going into medical assisting for scrubs. We went shopping at a uniform shop about 20 minutes from here. I don't like shopping. I hate it with a passion, but my daughter asked me to go, so I went. But while we were shopping, I made a big fool out of myself. I told Susan, the manager, I said, "You've got gray, blue, and maroon, and black. Don't you have any other fancy colors like fluorescent orange or fluorescent yellow or fluorescent green?" And I was being a real goofball. I wonder if Susan might remember me. So I called up the uniform shop, asked to speak to Susan, and I said, "I don't know if you remember me or not, but I'm the dad. Yeah, we remember you. Okay. So tell me what you need." And I explained to her what we do. We help people in need. And she said, "You know what? We're normally open from noon to 5. Why don't you bring April over here about 11:30 and I'll replace all 8 pairs of scrubs and the 2 pairs of nurse's shoes that she lost. No questions asked." That was over $1,000 worth of nursing gear that April didn't have to pay for. It was at that moment, and we call that a Kairos moment. That's why the book's called Kairos Gratitude. The Kairos moments you have in your life when you feel a calling and you realize that the relationships that you've built in your life you can use to impact others, help people in need, and do good for your community. And that was the moment I recognized that my journey is a purpose. And that was the moment you just spoke about.
One, this touched me deeply. I mean, I don't know if I would say it's a miracle or I'll say it's divinely aligned for what you built, but that's life-changing. You've built a very powerful message around what you call the bridge to kindness. What does that phrase mean? And why kindness? I know you've talked a little bit about some pieces of that, but I believe there's more to that. And such, and how does that lead to what we'll call critical leadership of quality?
Well, the reason why it's called the bridge to kindness is because there are 2 lanes of travel that are happening right now. You have one lane of travel, which are nonprofits that know who they are, what they do, what they're all about. They're darn proud of it. And you have a second lane of travel of people that would love to help out, love to volunteer, but have no idea how to plug in. And the 2 lanes are running side by side and they're not intersecting. We're building a bridge to introduce the two to each other. So, how do we introduce these folks to these folks and they join forces together? That's the bridge. Now, when it comes to the leadership side of it, and to make a greater impact in your community, Where does the leadership side come to this? What we do is we provide a framework for any community, regardless of size, to come together and to collaborate with each other, to work with each other to help people in need using the leadership of that community. So there are 5 pillars that support the bridge. I've been in radio my entire career. I've been in podcasting for the last 10 years. I would love to have you as a guest on our show to talk about your impact. Um, we have a radio show and we have a podcast for every city that we bring the bridge to. And it gives us the opportunity to highlight 50 nonprofits a month, who they are, what their mission is, and stories of their impact in their community. So the people that hear the stories say, you know what? I could do that too. What he's talking about, I'd like to be involved with that organization. And you say, Ron, that's great. What's your proof of concept? Simple. We're all over the state of Alabama. We're in 23 cities across Alabama right now, and we're very blessed to be able to do that and help people in need. But there's a radio show based in Birmingham that's featured on 35 radio stations across Georgia, Alabama, and South Carolina. And it's called the Rick and Bubba Morning Show. It's heard weekday mornings from 6 to 9. They heard about what we were doing and they said, we would like to have you as a guest on our radio show. You have 4 minutes to explain what you do. Ready? Go. We explained what we're doing. And there was a lady by the name of Yolanda, who's the Chamber of Commerce director in Ardmore, Alabama. She was driving to work and she listens to Rick and Bubba every morning. And she thought to herself, you know what? We should be doing acts of kindness in Ardmore. We have so many people we could help. Why can't we do this too? So she reached out to us and said, how do we bring this to Ardmore? And we shared with her how to bring it to Ardmore. In her first year, 974 people were impacted through acts of kindness because one person looked at their gifts and talents and said, this is how I can bless other people. The second support is a series of workshops with the local Better Business Bureau introducing businesses to nonprofits and how they can team up together and help each other. There's an organization called Operation Warmth. They do sleeping bags for the homeless. The owner of that nonprofit has been borrowing from his retirement and his 401k to buy sleeping bags for the homeless. His wife's like, honey, if you don't stop doing this, we're going to need a sleeping bag. Please find some donors. Well, as a production company, and you mentioned I've been in business for 36 years and I've been blessed to do so. SOH Productions stands for Serving Only Him. He's the owner of the store. I'm just the keeper. We do videos for nonprofits, and I know it'll come back. So I don't charge nonprofits to do it because I know it's their purpose. And so while we were shooting the video for this nonprofit, I said, what are you using this for? Well, we need to raise donors. We need to raise money. I said, you know what? I know the owner of an outdoor outfitter. Let me give Kevin a call. Hang on a second. So right in the middle of the shoot, I stopped. I called Kevin and I said, Kevin, you get what are called demo bags from Coleman, REI, Yeti. They're up on the shelf and it says, take the box below to the register to check out. What do you do with the demo bags up on the shelf when you're done with them? Oh, I just pitch them in the dump. No, you don't. Let me have you talk to the guy with Operation Warmth. He hasn't had to buy a sleeping bag in 4 years. That's the power of introducing business to nonprofit. It's called corporate social responsibility. You talked about it earlier. Third, we offer support groups for nonprofit directors to come to and get help when they need it. Maybe you have a nonprofit director that says, I've got a board member. He's trying to put through his own agenda as to what we should be doing as an organization. It's nowhere near what we're trying to do as a nonprofit. It's side railing us. How do you deal with that? Come to the support meeting, get help from other directors that have been through it. We will help you through it. Or I've got a budget shortfall this month. We're not going to make it. I need to write an email to my donors. How much do I ask for? Who do I write it to? I can't handle this. Okay, come to the meeting. Others have gone through it. will help you through it. So there's the support group. We have the fourth pillar are community events where nonprofits can talk about to volunteers what they do and get volunteers. But it's not speed dating. When you come into the event, you take a spiritual gift assessment. There are 22 gifts. Everybody has two, another three, and then the rest fall away. You usually have a strong two. So take 5 minutes, find out what your gifts are, find out what your talents are, because every organization that's there that night has indicated what gifts and talents they're looking for. And so you have the gift of service. Fantastic. You seem like a pretty husky guy, Robert. Did you know that the Furniture Bank is currently looking for a driver for their truck on Saturdays to go out and pick up kitchen tables and chairs, washers and dryers and beds, and load them to the truck and bring them back here? Would you be willing to drive the truck for an hour and you have the gift of service? Thank you. Or you know what? You've got the gift of leadership. That's fantastic. Did you know that our food pantry right now is looking for a program director? You can go talk to them right now. So you're not speed dating, you're talking to the organization who can use your talents right now. And then the final pillar is what we talked about earlier, which is neighborhood bridges. We do that with the school districts in the area to identify the needs in the classroom, just like my mom did. And that's how we've impacted 634,000 people. So by being able to use the leadership to come to a community, we're not taking the place of anything. That is not our mission. Our mission is to everybody collaborate, communicate, work with each other to make the community even better and stronger than it is today.
Wow. I mean, I'm just blown away by the work you do, which comes from the heart. I want you to talk to us a little bit about, intentional acts of service. I mean, how could people cultivate that intentional acts of service to help other people?
It starts with one. My favorite example is we had a senior citizen, 84 years old, that kept falling out of bed. We put out a need for bed rails to keep the senior citizen in bed at night, not falling to the floor. And there was a guy that stepped up and said, you know what? My mother-in-law passed away 4 months ago. I've got a $59 bed rail sitting in my hall closet. I didn't know what to do with it. If you guys could benefit from it, I'd love to give it to you. Thank you. That's exactly what we need. That first act of kindness has then created a snowball where he wants to do it more and more and more and more. So the secret is find something that you feel you're good at, find the organization where you can use it, and do it one time, because then you become a frequent offender, a repeat offender, where you want to do it again and again and again. So it just takes that first recognition that I want to be a difference maker and I just want to do it one time. If you don't use your gifts and talents, they are as good as the Christmas gift under the tree that you open, you're thankful for it, and next year when you go to set your tree back up for Christmas, guess what? It's still sitting there. We all have those gifts. They're sitting on my fireplace mantle right now. You got this great gift last year. You've never done anything with it. If you don't do something with your gifts and talents, they're as good as that gift under the tree. You've got to get out and experience it because once you do, it's just a blast.
Yeah, I agree with you. I'm just laughing because I think I see how one gives that has been laying there, and every time I say, I think I'm gonna get to use this gift. So it's almost like you have a talent and you just keep that. So yes, I still have a Christmas gift. I'm still to open, which is just it points at me as well. So it's a beautiful one, Ron. So. What happens when in, let's say, organizations and communities when kindness become part of the culture?
Well, in business, I will share with you that businesses that engage in kindness have a 41% higher retention rate with their employees sticking around and a 35% happier work environment. They get to know each other in different situations. There was a company that had 54 employees that said, what can we do together to make a difference in our community? And there was an organization called Rain from Above. What Rain from Above does is takes old semi-truck trailers and converts them into 16 showers. And they bring the semi-truck into a homeless camp and gives homeless people the opportunity to have a shower. Well, they give all the homeless people a hygiene kit. And in that hygiene kit, there's a razor, there's shaving cream, there's toothpaste, toothbrush, shampoo, washcloth, soap, hygiene items for men and women, underwear, socks. Somebody's got to put those kits together. And so Rain from Above works with businesses and comes out to a business for lunch. They set up 4 6-foot tables with tubs on each one. Each tub has a different item. You take a Ziploc bag at the beginning of the line, either pink or blue. As you go down, you put in what you need to put in it for the respective sex. At the end, you drop it in a big tub, and they use those big tubs to take out to the camps. Somebody's got to do that. In 1 hour and a half, 1 hour, in 90 minutes, that group of 54 people assembled 1,124 hygiene bags. That's how it can make a difference there. In your own personal life, there's two different ways you can do it. Either individual volunteerism, where you yourself say, you know what, I'm going to take an hour every month and I'm going to go down and serve at my soup kitchen and I'm going to serve dinner at my local soup kitchen. I'm just going to do it myself. Or you might say, you know what, I've got a group of 17 friends. We've been friends for years. We do things together. We picnic. We watch game day together, whatever. Maybe I could convince them that on one Saturday morning at 10 o'clock, we could go down and we could clean up our park that other people can enjoy. We'll rake the leaves, we'll paint the gazebo, we'll clean out the shelter house. Maybe want to do it as group volunteerism and do it as a group of 17 individuals and do it that way. So the three different ways that you can do it are through your business, like we talked about with Rain from Above, as a group of friends, or just yourself. And that's how you can do it.
Ron, I mean, somebody listening might ask, what keeps you going? What drives you in doing this work that you are doing?
If I can make the difference for someone in a time of need at the moment they need it, and through the connections and relationships that I've been able to be having today can benefit them, it's made my day. 2 months ago, for the first time, I had a direct relationship with the person who was receiving kindness. What I mean by that is traditionally I work with an advocate who identifies what the need is and confirms the need is real. And I have relationships with advocates. They're part of our team. They let us know the needs that are out there. And then we have people that say, you know what, I'll step up and meet that need with what I have. And so I know those people. But the person that I'm delivering, whether a kitchen table and chairs to or a refrigerator to, I'm meeting for the very first time. But it's never happened to me before where I actually find out that the person I'm delivering it to, I know. And 2 months ago, I got a phone call from a member of our church that said, you know, a couple years ago, we had some guy come to our church and talk about this bridge thing. And I remembered that because a friend of theirs, who started our local basketball league for kids from kindergarten through fifth grade, is going through cancer. And I said, well, actually, that was before you and I met. That was actually me that came to speak, number one. So that's kind of funny that you didn't know who it was me. But second, I said, so Mike's got some trouble. And he said, yeah, Mike has weeks, maybe days to live, and he's in the hospital. And the car that his wife has been driving, which is a 2017 Ford Explorer, driving him around all of his doctor appointments for cancer, just went kaput. I don't know if this is something that your organization can help with, but if you can, that would be great. And I said, well, actually, that's right in my wheelhouse. You're calling me at 8:30 at night. Give me till 8:30 tomorrow morning, till tomorrow morning to have a solution. I have two repair companies that I work with for automobiles. I called the first one and it turned out that is where the vehicle was. Just by chance, I call it divide intervention. The car was at a dealership that I actually work with, and I said, what seems to be the problem? And they said, well, it's got a cracked cylinder. It needs new spark plugs, a tune-up, and an oil change. We've already got 563 in it. It'll probably be another $500. So you're looking at about 1,163 bucks for the entire repair. So I called Mike back and I told him, it's going to be about 1163. And he said, well, Debbie and I would like to contribute $500 of our own money towards it because they're best friends of our family. And I said, Mike, you don't have to do that. Okay. I'm just letting you know what I found out. I have one more place to call. I knew that I had in the budget to cover it from donations that we've received, but that's not my point. I called the second place where I get repair, and they only charge me labor. They don't charge me for parts. And so he said, I'll do it for 250. At that point, I knew I could very well cover this with Bridges funds. But I took one more chance, and this is what drives me every day to get to your point. I wrote an email to the owner of the dealership, which I've known personally for years, and I said, I've never asked this before because I have a personal connection. Are you willing to meet me 50-50 on this, where I cover half of it, you cover half of it? Maybe I cover 75%, you cover 25%. I'm just asking. Within 3 minutes, I got an email back that simply said this: we will call you and let you know when the car is done this afternoon and they can come pick it up. Meaning they just wrote off the entire thing. They won't have to pay a dime. That's why I get up every morning to do what I do. Because there's a reason why I'm at where I'm at. The book that I wrote that you talked about earlier called Kairos Gratitude. Kairos are the moments in your life where your life takes a distinct change for a distinct direction of where God wants to lead you. I've had 6 of those moments in my life. Gratitude is for the people that were in your life that brought you through those times. So the book is not a memoir. It is a challenge with a gift assessment at the end for you to look at the relationships that you've built in your lifetime, the gifts and talents that you've been blessed to receive, and who you can impact with those gifts.
Ron, that's right from the heart. And I agree with you. That's divinely inspired. I mean, what you do is divinely inspired. I mean, being able to align your purpose with so many things you do is just a blessing. And
There
thank
are
you.
four, there are 14 times, and I've kept track. There are 14 times that I've found out I'm getting something that I didn't know I needed yet. My backdoor neighbor, who I've known for 30 years, after I got done mowing my lawn, came to the back fence and yelled for me, and I came out. And he said, Ron, I got 40 chairs for you. Got 40 office chairs for you. Great, Dan. I have I don't have any needs currently posted for 40 chairs. I'm glad you have 40 chairs. Thanks for letting me know. I have no idea what you want, what I'm supposed to do with them, but okay. I can't take them. I don't have a warehouse. I don't have a place to store things. I pick up and drop off at the same time. Don't know why you're telling me you have 40 chairs, but okay. So the next day, I go to our lunch ministerial meeting for all of our senior pastors. We get together once a month on the second Tuesday of the month. One of the senior pastors comes up to me after the meeting and he said, Ron, I just want to let you know on Thursday, in a couple days, we're opening up a new youth center here in our community. We're very excited about it. We're having an open house. But the thing is, it's a gigantic shell. It's a great building, but there's no place for people to sit down. We have no chairs. Do you know where I can find some? Uh, yeah. Hang on. There have been 14 occasions like that have happened in the time I've been doing this. Now, if that is not crazy, it's amazing.
Short of words, Ron. I'm short of words. But that's so, it's so beautifully aligned. And that alignment is what really moves me as a person. Um, you also speak of corporate social responsibility, helping organizations understand how purpose and community engagement can influence their culture. Why is this so important, especially for modern day organizations?
It's important for people to know who each other are within the workplace. We've been so siloed through COVID and separated off with remote work, working in our own little 6 by 6 foot bubble in our homes. And even when we go to the office, we can't get within 6 feet of each other. We've lost the opportunity to look up from our phones and look somebody in the eye and have a conversation at the water cooler. When a company can come together once a month, we have a local security company. Once a month, they have a company meeting and they talk about what's on everybody's heart. What does everybody have a passion for? Where can we help in our community? And so everybody gets to pitch their idea of where they could help. And then they vote to do one. And they do a new one every single month, 12 times a year. Maybe it's helping out at the local humane society and everybody gets to take a pet for a walk. Or maybe it's doing Valentine's Day cards for all of the residents of a nursing home that don't feel like they're remembered, don't feel like they're appreciated, and they're just taking their time at the nursing home. Maybe it's the opportunity to put on a car wash and get each other wet and have a sponge fight and a water balloon fight, but at the same time raise money for a missions organization. It it gives people the opportunity to get to know each other aside from their roles and responsibilities at the business. It builds camaraderie and it builds community. And if the businesses can come together to do that, imagine what we can do as residents of our community.
This is solid, but now let's talk about the employee. What changes in an organization when employees feel that their work actually contributes to something meaningful?
There's more company loyalty, there's more company camaraderie, and they feel that they're a part of a greater purpose.
Now, Ron, you help individuals identify their spiritual gifts and personal strengths so they can make a difference. Why is that self-awareness such an important part of living a purpose-driven life?
Well, if I may, from a faith perspective, I'm taught that we're all a part of the body, and every part of the body is important. If we're all the same part, what happens to all the others? So I like to say on the left foot, far left pinky toe. I'm not, I'm not the most vital part of the heart or the brain. I'm just the left pinky toe on the left foot. Um, it helps you maintain balance. If you didn't have your left pinky toe, you wouldn't be able to stand up. Um, it helps you have balance. So every part of the body is important. And so with everybody's gifts and talents together, it creates that puzzle that everything fits together nicely. And everybody is able to contribute in their own respective way, in the way that they can give back. And so once you identify what those gifts and talents are and how they all interlock and work with each other. Um, it's very important. I know there's different assessments that you can take. There's the DISC assessment with the four quadrants of D, I, S, and C and how we all interrelate to each other. There's another one that says, what type of an animal are you? Are you a golden retriever? Are you a lion? Are you a bear? Yeah. What I'm talking about is beyond personality. What is it that you've been predestined to have as the talents you've been born with that you can use and use those gifts and talents effectively?
So, I mean, this leads me to one of the things I really enjoy that you do, the Kairos gratitude, which explores the power of gratitude and purpose. I mean, when you reflect back on your own journey, what role has gratitude played in shaping your life, even in leadership?
Because I have had people that invested in me and believed in me. And it started at a very early age in my teenage years. There are three people at different times in my teenage years that invested in me and believed in the talents that I had to give me the career path that I have today and defined who I am today. And they came alongside me and cheered me on to be able to do what I'm doing. When I was in fifth grade, at the age of 10, every Thursday afternoon at 4 o'clock after school, my parents would to take me to see Miss Mrs. Sweezy, and she would give me a Matchbox Hot Wheel car if I would read out loud to her, and she g gave me the courage to speak out loud. Now, because Mrs. Sweezy did that, in seventh grade, when I was in Scouts, I entered a speech contest put on by Reader's Digest, Toastmasters International, and the Boy Scouts of America. I was 12. I won the local, I won the state, and then I went on to the regional competition where I was up against the 17-year-old, 6'2", full beard, sash full of merit badges, Eagle Scout, senior in high school. I'm a seventh grade pipsqueak, 4 feet tall. I came in second. He went on to win the national competition. But it gave me the courage to talk and talk out loud. And then my sophomore year of high school, my speech teacher, who I'm still friends with to this day, he's 86 now. We still do lunch. He pulled me aside after speech class my sophomore year of high school and he said, "Son, what do you want to do with your life?" I said, "I have no idea." "I do. Come with me at lunchtime." We went down to the band room and he introduced me to the band director and he said, "Mr. Hickey, this is Mr. Smith. Mr. Smith, Mr. Hickey. I want him to introduce the marching band at halftime on Friday nights at the football game over the PA system to everybody at the football game." I went from announcing the band to announcing the games to getting on the radio, which 44 years later, I'm still doing today. My senior year of high school, I applied for 3 different schools. I got accepted at all 3. Miraculously, the school that my parents went to for college. It's a private school. Somehow I got in. I have a 2.7 grade point. I never got over a 3 point. Somehow I got in. And I received a scholarship on ability, not academics. And Dan Pohl, the admissions director, I worked with the basketball league as the announcer in our city. Now, he never admitted to me that it was because he was the admissions director I got in, but I have a hunch. And that admission to that school paved the way for me to have the career that I have today. Those 3 instances, those 3 people that invested in me created the path that I'm on. And that's some of the people that I mentioned in the book that I have the gratitude for that paved me into the person that I am today.
Yeah, instances that planted seeds that grew to bigger things that you've done for over 40 plus years. And in some of these things, I know you don't put some of this ahead because you're such a humble guy. You won the 2024 Global Impact Award. You won the Business Person of the Year Award. You won the Small Business of the Year Awards, induction to the Westville South High School Hall of Fame. How did these things lead you to some of these things that just kept happening to you as a result of what you were doing and not
It,
intentionally chasing this, but it just kept happening?
no, it's not me. Um, if I may share, I feel blessed that I've had a relationship with my Savior since the age of 12. My father led me to the Lord, and I made that decision. Um, has it all been roses? No. We all have our times in our walks where things happen. I'm a Gideon. I don't know if you're familiar with the Gideons, but Gideons are the ones that put the Bibles in hotel room drawers. They started over 140 years ago. I lead jail. I lead jail chapel at our county jail on Sunday mornings before I go to my own home church. So I attend both, but I lead and have the opportunity to speak with inmates about where they are right now, where they're going, and that they can make a very wise decision. Um, and so my faith is very important to me. I'm not overbearing with it with what I do. I hope that through what I do and how I do it conveys that love to others and opens up opportunity for conversation. But I don't profess that with every mission that I'm on. I want what we do to be people giving to people. And if they have the opportunity to experience God's love through it, so be it.
I mean, it just confirmed everything. I mean, how humble and what has really been driving you. It's more than you. It's above,
Yeah,
you know.
it's all him. It's not me. That there's no way that I could do this on my own. There's no way. No way.
So, Scott, let's say there's someone listening to you now that feels discouraged, or someone that really wants to make a difference but does not know where to start. I want you to share a message with them.
There is a way that you can do it. Um, if you would like to take the gift assessment and find out what your gifts and talents are and have our help to find out where in your community you can plug in, I would love to help you with that. Just go to our site, thebridgetokindness.com, go to the contact page with the book or with the contact page. Let me know that you heard our conversation with Robert today. If you cover the shipping, I will send you my book for free so that you can take that gift assessment and then I can help you plug in your community on where you can serve. And we'll team up together to make that difference. You have somebody here, just like I've been helped. I want to help you. And so if you feel a calling to say, you know what, I'd love to help, but I don't know where to start, let me help you on that journey. Let me come alongside you on that journey and give you just a little bit of a nudge. Because just like you start a snowball at the top of the mountain, by the time it gets down to the end, it's making a really huge impact. And all I want to do is start that snowball with you so that you can have that impact. So if you feel led that you want to make a difference, but you're not sure where to start, this is my personal offer to you to say, you know what? I'll come alongside you on that journey. Let's do it together.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Scott, for those words. And I believe there's somebody listening that would definitely want to take you on that offer. And we encourage you, please do that. And don't do it alone. If you have people that have done it for years and people that have also been helped by others and wanting to share, wanting to send a hand to hold you, take that offer. So, Scott, as we begin to wrap things up, we have a tradition on the Voice of Impact. So we have a web die. It has a couple of teams, and these teams were chosen. wisely because we know there are few words that always resonate with most of our guests. And I'll read it out just so that you get an opportunity to choose two out of the six to speak to somebody listening. One that could reflect your own journey, but the other also a message for somebody listening. So the first theme is make a difference. Second one is rebuild. Third is overcome. Fourth is stronger. Then the last two is peace and patience. So I'll repeat the six again. Make a difference, rebuild, overcome, stronger, peace, and patience.
I would like to pick make a difference and stronger.
Yes, please. Just speak to them.
So make a difference is take a look in your community and find out where you can make a difference using your gifts and talents and get plugged in. Stronger is that you're stronger than you know. I might not look like it. They used to call me Scrawny Ronnie, but I can lift a 300-pound, three-seat leather couch, recliner couch up 3 flights of stairs. I'm physically stronger than I think I actually am, but also you're stronger than you think you know. Stretch yourself, stretch out, step out in faith. I had somebody ask me once, I'm thinking about bringing a partner onto my business. What traits would you look for? So I said, great communication, great organizational skills, good interpersonal relationship skills, good accounting skills. And I named off several things. And he said, you know what? I never heard you say risk taker. And he said, haven't you ever taken a risk in your business? No. You're kidding me. You've never taken a risk. No. Explain that to me, please. I said, sure. I've taken many steps of faith, but I've never taken a risk. You can be stronger when you take a step of faith. Pray up about it, confirm it with other people, and confirm it through Bible study. You'll be stronger for it, you'll be better for it, and you can take that step of faith knowing that He's with you. And so that's how you can become stronger. You can take a look at who you are today and what you want to become and take those steps to be stronger.
Thank you so much for those words. I mean, you talked about, you know, really standing by someone, holding somebody's hand who really wants that support, or somebody who wants to, make a difference. But also, there might be people that want to learn about what you do, bridge to kindness, Kairos gratitude. How can someone connect with you, Scott?
Make sure you put the word the in front of it, but go to thebridge2kindness.com. It'll go right to me.
Thebridge2kindness.com. That's a direct way to get to Ron. Please do that. Ron, we just want to thank you. Thank you for sharing from your heart. Thank you for reminding us that impact doesn't always come from a grand gesture. It often begins with simple acts of kindness. And you took our conversation today to a place where, we had to remind one listener at a time that every person has a gift. And when those gifts are used in service to others, communities grow even stronger and lives are transformed. We just really want to appreciate you and the time you took today on this beautiful Good Friday to really share with us on the Voice of Impact podcast. Thank you so much, Ron.
Thank you for having me.
So, to the person listening, you have the power to make a difference. Sometimes it could be the smallest act of kindness that becomes a bridge and it changes someone else's life. A single act of kindness can start a ripple effect that reaches further that we can ever even see or imagine. So we're Ndoping and Co. performance designers and strategy coaches. We help leaders and organizations create what we call clarity, alignment, and sustainable impact. Three different things, solid. Um, this has been the voice of impact, and we use this as a mission to be able to reach out to people. And we always say one guest at a time. And we're hoping that this changes a life. This touches somebody. This changes the way somebody looks at things. And this makes someone reach out and support somebody else. Until next time, keep serving, keep connecting, and keep using your voice. Thank you very much, Ron.
It's very simple. Empower as many people as possible. Empower as many leaders as possible. Touch as many professionals as I can. Be able to make a difference.